Wow.
That's it for us today here on Good Day, everybody. Chicago Now's next.
10 o'clock on Wednesday as we cruise through the work week.
We are cruising too, aren't we? It's going by fast.
It has. Some weeks are different. The other week for you was crawling.
Yeah, and I was like, Tuesday definitely felt like a Thursday. This mic is a little, sorry you guys, it keeps hitting my situation, my shirt. This isn't really a shirt. What is this? A jumpsuit?
Well, it's got your jumpsuit has kind of a loose front side to the collar.
Yeah.
Caitlin, we walked away yesterday with some treats in hand. Do you remember?
The fruit?
The fruit. Did you give it a go? I know that you were super excited about trying the pawpaw.
Oh, Anthony, I forgot it in my work bag.
No.
I bet it's still in there.
Okay.
Guarantee it's still in there, matter of fact. Did you try it?
I tried it.
Okay.
I tried not only the pawpaw, but also the black walnuts as well. So if you guys didn't join us yesterday, we had this unbelievable local farmer who started growing these Asian pears in her backyard. She expanded her operation to a 40-acre plot out near Galena, but she's able to grow these mostly what's thought of as exotic fruits right here in the Midwest. We're talking about like all kinds of
Asian
persimmons,
pears,
Asian pears, pawpaws. And so pawpaw, she said, used to be thought of as the poor man's banana when bananas were too expensive to import decades and decades ago. I guess they were more expensive. They're cheaper now. Pawpaws grow here in the Midwest. They're these odd-looking green fruit.
like a thin mango, if you will.
Yes, exactly. And they have the kind of the similar consistency as a mango. I peeled it, cut it up, give it to the kids yesterday. They liked it. Maggie wasn't a fan. My mom happened to be over at the time. She was a big fan. I loved it. I thought it was great. But I know the reason that it's not as popular as a banana, and that is because there's a lot of seeds to navigate around. There are these kind of thick black oval
watermelon seeds, kind of.
They figured out how to make watermelon seedless, right?
Yeah.
So if they were able to make pawpaws, we could grow them locally.
What did it taste like?
It tasted like, it had kind of the consistency of a banana. It was sweet. It almost tasted like a, there it is. Thank you, Brad. That's a pawpaw. That's not a ripe one, but you can get an idea. And they grow about as big as a mango. I would say like a mild ice cream or custard. Yeah.
Maggie didn't like that.
I think she just needed a few more bites. She only gave it one. And then the other thing, Oriana was her name, yesterday gave us were black walnuts, which are actually kind of rare. And you can't open them with a walnut like a standard cracker. We busted out the hammer. I should have forwarded you guys. I took a video of it, and I forgot to forward it to our team.
Oh.
Jero and I went out to the driveway. Boom, boom. And you do have to use a hammer to get them open, but they were absolutely delicious.
So it's not like
Jero kept eating them.
Is it like a regular walnut?
I would say it tastes better than a regular walnut.
Better?
Better than a regular
But similar flavor?
Similar, yeah.
I had one of the pears yesterday.
Oh, yes.
I took a big bite of that. It was very good. It was very sweet. And it almost had the consistency more of like an apple than a pear.
I think it needed another day or two.
It might have been not fully ripe.
Because I'm waiting, because I've got a persimmon, which I don't even know what a persimmon is.
Is that the one that was like, it looked almost like a squash?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that I'm waiting on, and then the Asian pear.
The pear.
Yeah, I'm going to give it till it's got that squishy consistency, and then I'm going to dive in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very good. Very good. I'm excited. I forgot about the, you know what happens when I get home from work? I have this giant bag, you guys, okay? I come to work. It looks like I'm going on a weekend trip every day because I've got like the pocket in the bottom for my shoes, and the bag itself is cavernous. Anyways, I have all my stuff in there, so when I walk in the door, usually I don't even get inside before Grady's outside with the baby. Here you go. And so then we swap. He carries my bag inside, I get the baby, and then a lot of times things just get left in my bag.
Yeah,
and
I'd be careful on the pawpaw because it's squishy. I don't want anything to. I don't want a luggage disaster for you. A luggage malfunction. I want to avoid that.
Plastic like lunch bag.
Okay. All right. So it's got a little bit of protection. All right, guys. 10:04. We're going to get into it. It has been 28 days now since the federal government shut down, and one of the major issues. There's a couple things that like happen on November 1st. Bad things, okay? For government employees, first of all, we have air traffic controllers that are working without pay, and they're required to go to work without pay because they're considered essential workers. Now, here in Illinois, A huge issue is we have millions of people who take advantage of SNAP benefits and EBT benefits to help them out at the grocery store. And those benefits are set to expire. The Trump administration has said that it is not going to temporarily renew these benefits. So starting November 1st, these could vanish for, I guess, an estimated 41.7 million people around the country. In Illinois, we are talking about almost 2 million. So, with this in mind, the Greater Chicago Food Depository, this is going to be essential for a lot of Illinoisans who are about to lose their benefits. And so this morning, we are joined by Cameron Matson from the Greater Chicago Food Depository to talk to us about how the agency is going to be stepping up for these individuals. Cameron, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can. Thanks for having me on this morning.
Oh, it is our pleasure. Thank you for joining us via Zoom. Are you joining us from the depository?
I am. I'm here at our warehouse facility where it is buzzing.
It's buzzing.
With preparation for what we anticipate to be a need like we haven't seen in a long time.
I am very curious to know the implications of this, because you guys are always buzzing. You know, we do stories with you from time to time. The need here is so great. What is November 1st going to be looking like from your end of things?
Yeah, what's hard is this is unprecedented. So people who are not familiar with SNAP, it is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and that provides money on an EBT card, like you said, that our people who qualify can take to the grocery store and purchase groceries that they need for their household. So that benefit that people have qualified for, if the government shutdown doesn't end, will cease on November 1st. And this is disastrous. Like you said, for almost 2 million people in Illinois, that is a lifeline. SNAP is our most effective tool to prevent hunger, and it has been proven effective over decades. And when that goes away, people are not going to have the resources they need to put food on the table for their family. And this is impacting children. There's a lot of children who are on SNAP benefits, older adults, families, moms and dads who are working, and the money that they're bringing in just isn't enough. And so we know that this is going to be disastrous, and so we are trying to ramp up and be in close contact with the 850 partner food pantries, soup kitchens, shelters, other food access programs we have throughout Cook County, in order to let them know that we're here for them, and to let us know as the needs rise. And we will do everything in our power to help fill in the gap. But we weren't designed for this level of need.
Can you speak to those families? I'm sure you've talked to them who use the SNAP benefits if they've come to the food depository. Just their emotional state right now, as this is just a couple of days away.
Yeah, that's a great question. I love that you're asking this because, well, first of all, I'm amazed at how many SNAP participants don't know that this is going to impact them. I was at a pantry just on Monday, and a gentleman standing in line asked if he was a SNAP participant, and he was. And I was asking him how he felt about the impacts that were going to come on November 1st, and he didn't know. He didn't know that the SNAP cuts, was going to cease in November 1st if the government shutdown doesn't end. And so part of it is just letting people know, making sure that they're aware. But he was devastated. He doesn't know where else he's going to get food. To put it in perspective, how essential SNAP is. For every meal we're able to provide, SNAP provides the equivalent of 9.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So as much food as we put out and distribute to our neighbors in need every year, every day, SNAP is that much bigger and that much more important. And so you can imagine how devastated families are who are suddenly losing this crucial benefit that helps put food on the table. There's a lot of moms and dads out there right now who are really concerned about, how am I going to feed my kids? We talked with one mom recently who's like, well, I'm going to have to, go down to eating 1 meal a day so that I can make sure that my kids have enough. And these are the difficult decisions that people who rely on SNAP benefits are going to have to make. And so, yeah, that's a taste of the devastation that people are feeling right now.
Okay, before we talk about how folks can step up and help you guys out, I understand that even if SNAP, even if the government shutdown ends, as part of the Trump administration's One Big Beautiful Bill, I understand that participants in these SNAP, who are receiving SNAP benefits, are going to have to meet some additional requirements in order to continue to receive that same benefit. Will you talk us through how that's going to work and what the potential impact there could be?
Yes, and I'm so glad you're bringing this up. It's hard to call it a silver lining, but one slight benefit of the government shutdown impacting SNAP is that it's bringing up the conversation about SNAP, and that this is a temporary stoppage of benefits, but like you mentioned, there are these more permanent stoppage of benefits coming in the near future. So part of the bill is that there are new work requirements that are put into place for a certain set of SNAP participants. So starting on December 1st, there's an estimated 450,000 able-bodied SNAP participants. Those are participants who don't have dependents under the age of 14. They will need to satisfy a certain level of work requirements. So 20 hours a week of either working or volunteering or being enrolled in a qualifying education program. These work requirements, Illinois had an exemption from work requirements, so they just hadn't existed across the state of Illinois. That exemption is now gone, so all it's a brand new system. So now people who have dependents under the age of above the age of 14 will have to work, and then also the age at which it used to be people over the age of 54 didn't have to do work requirements, and that was raised to 64. So you think about people between the age of 55 and 64 are now going to have to meet these work requirements as well. And if they don't meet those, they have 3 months within 3 years to receive benefits, and then they're done. And so we all know how hard it is to get a job. We all know how hard it is to prove some of those work, how many hours you've worked, if you're in a gig job, if you're driving an Uber or something like that, to get the documentation to get 20 hours a week. It's just extra stipulations. And unfortunately, time has proven that work requirements don't work. It doesn't. It just penalizes people who are already dealing with difficult circumstances. And so we're really concerned, and we're raising the awareness about this as well. People need to know that this is coming, and people need to make sure that they are aware that of what needs that they need to meet in order to keep receiving their benefits.
For those that don't know, can you tell us where the Greater Chicago Food Depository gets your supplies, your food, and as Anthony mentioned earlier, how the community can help?
Yes. So we get our food from 3 main sources. There's government funds and foods from the USDA. We also get food from donations from our neighbors, people who are listening right now who and watching, who are gracious enough to share funds and donate to us. We also do a fair amount of food rescue, and people within the food industry who say they have they've changed their packaging and they have a lot of perfectly fine food in their old packaging. They can donate that to us. Farmers donate some of their bumper crop to us, and so there's a fair amount of that sort of donated product we get as well. But right now we are really looking, as you're asking what viewers can do. Donations are huge. Because we buy in bulk, we're able to make those dollars really stretch. And man, we really need extra money right now, because we want to make sure that every neighbor who walks through one of our partner pantries has the resources that they need. We believe that food is a basic human right, and we are going to do everything in our power to make sure that our neighbors have that essential resource. Again, we weren't built for this. Food pantries, food banks weren't built for this level of need. We were meant to complement the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. As we stand alone, it's dire. And so anybody who can help, we welcome it right now.
And would you say that it's more effective from your point of view if folks do the monetary donation as opposed to saying, okay, I've had this food in my pantry, in my basement, it's non-perishable, I can bring it to one of your satellite locations?
Yes, that's a great question. We prefer dollars just because, like I said, bulk buying, we have great partnerships with people in the industry. We can make those dollars stretch really far. That said, the need is so big right now that if you have quality, not expired food that you can donate, we suggest that you find a pantry in your neighborhood to donate those items to. It's not, because we're at such scale here at our warehouse, it's harder for us to incorporate smaller donations like that. But you can find your local food pantry on our website. There's a really prominent button that says Find Food. Plug in your address and you can find a pantry in your neighborhood. And that's a helpful resource both for those who can donate, and then also if you are somebody watching who needs food, please find a food pantry in your neighborhood. Do not go without. There is enough right now. We want to make sure that everyone has the resources they need. Nobody should be going without.
Cameron, my question is, what about the manpower? So we're seeing video here of people loading the shelves. Do you guys need help bodies? And also, if you can accept help with people coming in to just restock the shelves even, can people bring their kids? Maybe a great opportunity to show kids how to give back?
That's a great question. We do right now at the holidays. We are so fortunate. The Chicagoans are so generous and come in and volunteer. And so right now, a lot of our volunteer shifts are actually full.
Oh.
There's a wait list for some of them, but please go to our website and find there are still some openings here and there in November and December. And we always welcome those all hands on deck. Yeah, you've got our website right there. That's fabulous. In lieu of that, if you are interested and you can't find a shift that's open, we again suggest you contact your local food pantry. They are going to be seeing more guests coming, and they're going to need extra manpower in order to stock their shelves, help people go through their program and select foods, and help process people as they are dealing with an influx of new guests. And so, yes, we welcome all assistance. And we do have family days. To speak to your question about bringing kids, twice a month on Saturdays, we have a special day set aside for kids as young as 5 who can come in and help with their grown-ups. And it's such a lovely, those are such fun days, the energy that the kids bring. And it's also, I love, like you're saying, a great way to show our younger generation that this is what we do. We help. This is what Chicagoans do. We help one another when times are tough. We dig in and we do what's needed for our neighbors.
That's absolutely right. We always step up. Cameron, how does the day look though with those family days? What kinds of projects or activity? Is it basically bagging stuff, or if we both got young kids, mine are older than 5, so I could come in. What could we expect to be assigned?
Yes. So that's a great question. We buy food in bulk, and so you can imagine this big giant box of potatoes. So we rely on our volunteers to repack those potatoes into smaller family-sized portions. So you're repacking from a big container into a smaller container. Sometimes it's pasta, sometimes it's produce. Sometimes we're assembling food boxes for our senior food box program that gets distributed once a month. So there's a variety of different projects that are involved, but it all involves repacking food so that it's ready to go into a small enough container that can go on one of our trucks and then get shipped out to one of our partner pantries. The cool thing I think about volunteering at our warehouse is that that the food you're touching within a day or two is going out into the community, and so within a day or two after that, it's probably going to end up on somebody's dinner table. So there's an immediacy of that I think is really cool. And then also when you see one of our green trucks that says, Greater Chicago Food Depository driving around the city, you can think like, I might have packed something that's on that truck, and that's going to go help a neighbor who is dealing with food insecurity. And right now in Chicago, 1 in 5 households is experiencing food insecurity, and we're just not okay with those numbers. We know we can do better. You know, we're a great city, we're a great nation. We have the resources. The food exists in this country to feed everyone who needs it, and it's just a matter of getting it to the people who need it. So we welcome anyone who wants to be part of the solution to help make sure that the food gets to the people who need it.
One more, I'm seeing some video here. One more question from me. Baby puffs, what do you guys find that you need the most? What do you run out of the fastest the first time? Yeah.
As far as like food items that we distribute to our
what do you guys
neighbors, when I talk with our when I visit some of our partner pantries, they mention that the essentials like milk and eggs and proteins, those are the things that people are really interested in, and we all know the price on eggs and some of those items has fluctuated. I know produce, fruits and vegetables are very in demand. We all know also how expensive those are at the grocery store, but they're so important with all the nutrients, especially for our kiddos, you know, just to make sure that they're getting the nutrients they need. And so so those are some of the items that are usually the most popular.
Oh boy, we are glad that you exist right now. We're always glad, but especially right now. Cameron Matson, thank you very much for getting us updated. I hope everyone who's listening right now will step up in some way. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without getting the word out and with all the people who have been involved and are volunteering and donating. So, you know, we're going to rise to meet this moment. And so thank you for the opportunity to be on today.
It's our pleasure, Cameron. Come back sometime. 10:21, we're going to take a quick break. November 1st is also when something really cool is actually happening in Maywood. There's a tree planting ceremony for Way Back In, INN. This is a nonprofit that works to help individuals, families, and communities recover from things like substance abuse problems and also gambling issues. And so joining us right after this break, Anita Pindier, who is the executive director of Way Back In. She's going to tell us all about that mission when we come back.
The accident.
Welcome back, 1024. So Way Back In is a nonprofit that works to help individuals, families, and communities recover from gambling and substance use disorders. So on November 1st, Way Back In is proud to host a transformative tree planting ceremony at their Maywood campus in partnership with Open Lands and community volunteers. So this event that you're hosting is symbolizing renewal and growth, mirroring the bold new initiative, the launch of your youth recovery housing program for young adults 18 to 24. So this is Anita Pinjor, right?
Yes,
Pinjor.
thank you.
She's the executive director of Way Back In. So let's talk about Way Back In, how it started, and then we'll get into this new initiative that you have going on.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. Yes, so in 1958, the Way Back In started out in the Austin area of the Chicagoland area as a women's treatment facility, one of the oldest women's facilities in the country. And then in 1973, we started a men's facility in Maywood. And it was through the partnership of Proviso Township Mental Health Commission and Ferrera Pan Candy Company. So if you ever buy like Red Hots.
Lemonheads.
Lemonheads, yes. Yes. And so they kind of came together, bought the first location in Maywood. And we have a whole campus over there with 3 different houses. And Open Lands approached us about being able to plant some more trees. And yes, we know how restorative, how calming, how much effect trees have, not just for the environment, but as well as for people's mental health. And so we were really excited to be able to plant 20 trees on November 1st.
Oh, very cool. So that's on Saturday. The weather's going to be good.
Yeah.
For tree planting. This is a great time of year to get trees in the ground.
This is the time of year to do it, I guess.
Yeah,
the
so
fall,
this
I
is
think.
obviously going to enhance the campus itself. What kind of trees, before we get into the symbolism of it?
Lots of different trees. We're getting some rosebuds, some walnuts, but also some pawpaws, as I just heard you talking about it. So there's going to be like 5 of them. Yes, we're very excited about that.
Trees.
So fruit trees, we already have a couple of fruit trees, and the Way Back In used to belong in like 1850s to Colonel Nichols, who actually had an apple orchard. So we were very excited to kind of give back a little bit to that history as well, to providing some fruit on our property.
That's really cool. So let's talk about the pilot program that is kicking off here. I understand it involves young adults ages 18 to 24. So tell us about what is launching and why that particular demographic.
Yes, so we're very excited. It's coming through SAMHSA and then through the Department of Human Services, the Division of Behavioral Health and Prevention. And we want to really focus on kind of the younger demographic of 18 to 24, who often are faced with challenges of use and misuse of opiates and other stimulants, as well as other drugs, alcohol, and gambling. And so one of the issues that has been seen across the nation, but also here in Chicagoland area and Illinois, is the fact that the youth are often found with limited treatment options, and limited housing. So many of them find themselves unhoused, and many of them find themselves unable to cope with their recovery. And so the initiative is to provide them with a sober living environment, really limited on treatment only if they're really responsive to it and are asking for, but including family support, family treatment, and then a lot of life skills. So really that initiative of returning to work, returning to schools, returning to trade programming, having peer support, as well as recovery coaches kind of do a lot of wraparound services, a lot of it also including medications, so any mental health challenges, and MAT, which is medication assisted recovery. So sometimes persons with opiate use disorders might need certain medications in order to boost or kind of incentivize that recovery process.
So is this going to be a rehab facility that people can go to, or are you going to help find these people homes?
Well, both actually.
Both.
So initially we're going to start with bringing them in and having them in our facility. We can have them for up to a year because it's a one-year pilot project. So we can really wrap around those services, making sure that they have that support and that financial support. And once they are ready and are motivated, there will be a stipend for them to receive future housing. And so we'll be working with some of the partners in our community to make sure that they are able to support independent living and independent sober living.
And they do live like 24/7 on site when they're there?
Yes.
Okay.
24/7.
You mentioned that some of these 18 to 24-year-olds are not going to be actually receiving treatment while on site, but there are other activities for them.
Right.
What kinds of activities are we talking about? And in your mind, which are the most effective ones in leading to a long-term
So
solution?
treatment is an option, and that is something that they may choose. Sometimes we find that within that younger demographic of 18 to 24, not everybody's yet ready for like intense therapy. So we will have a lot of peer support, a lot of persons who have gone through their own recovery journey and are now in recovery, who are also younger individuals who will then be able to do that support and have a lot of meetings with those individuals. We will also do support through 12-step recovery when that's possible. And yes, treatment options within the way back in or outside of the way back in when somebody might choose, medication assisted treatment, and a lot of life skills. So sometimes we go back really basic, right? Just teaching you how to get up, how to get ready, how to show up to an interview. Some of them are very basic, like, how do I go to work? How do I clean up after myself? How do I do laundry? They seem like you're not, but when you're looking at any population, especially that 18-year-olds, it's almost like boot camp / going off to college.
Right. Teaching them how to go off on their own.
Right.
Does Way Back In have a process at the beginning to see if someone is eligible or if it's even the right program for them? Because gambling disorders, how do you know if you actually have the disorder?
Sure, right. That is always a question. We do have many screeners, and we do have licensed professionals who will be doing not only like screeners but also an intake process. So it will be an in-depth intake process for persons to come in. We will ask questions, they will give us responses, and we will make sure that they're meeting ASIM criteria, which is the American Society of Addiction Medicine, and that everybody meets the criteria that are necessary.
Okay.
A lot of times, though, I say that when you think you might need our help, you do need our help.
Oh, yeah.
But don't hesitate to reach out, right? We work with a lot of families. We work with a lot of families whose loved ones are not in treatment with us, and we are still there to support, to guide, and to really kind of provide you with the resources that might be necessary for you at this time. So if you think you might need us, reach out.
Okay.
Anita, one more question before we let you go here. I want to zoom out. We have reported, I believe, this past year that opioid overdose deaths were actually down slightly in Cook County overall. Can you put into perspective how things are going county-wide or locally, if the problem is getting worse, if it's getting better, or if we're just kind of holding the line when it comes to substance abuse?
It's a little up and down, right?
Okay.
So we are very happy that a lot of opiate overdoses are going down. We did see them go down in 2018 and then spike back up during COVID. They stayed very steady and are on the decrease. We're seeing a decrease in opiates themselves. We're seeing a slight increase in fentanyl, which is used in those. We are very fortunate that the state of Illinois is very progressive and very involved and really is putting a lot of effort into harm reduction as well as these kind of programming. So we know that we're saving a lot of lives with Narcan use, so we're very glad to see that. But overall, we're still seeing about 4% of those young adults misusing opiate-based medications, about 37,000 of them misusing some of the non-prescription opiates, and about 15,000 of them are meeting criteria for a substance use disorder. So we really want to make sure that we're reaching out and helping. And you ask why youth? The younger we start, the better outcomes are, the quicker we can change lives, right? Like for majority of medical conditions, we're never saying like, just wait, let's see what happens.
Right.
Let's course correct now. For the future.
Anita, thank you so much. Loving the work that you do. Anita Pindur with Way Back In. We appreciate you coming in. And congratulations on Saturday's ceremony. That's super exciting.
Yeah, we're very excited. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. I want to visit the campus and see what it's all about.
Please do.
Seems awesome. Okay, Anita, thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, navigating the time change. The time change is happening this
Whether you like it or
weekend.
not.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I don't know about too many people that like this back and
I
forth,
know
Caitlin, right?
it.
But we keep doing this exercise every year. We'll be back after this.
Fox Local.
That's right.
Make or break.
We're talking about sleep, y'all. And I think we all could use a little more. This
Oh, yeah.
weekend, we're going to get it. We're going to get a fall back happening with our time. So an extra hour of sleep. But what does that mean for our bodies? So again, Sunday, November 2nd, most of our clocks just change automatically. But if you do have to change your clock, don't forget, 2 a.m., we're falling back. So joining us this morning to talk about how an extra hour of sleep, the time change, how it affects our bodies, everything, our being. This is Lindsay McCullough. She's a sleep medicine physician at Rush. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you
Okay.
for having me.
So my first question for you is it a big deal, an hour, even if it's an additional hour? Is this going to really mess us up year after year?
So it's a good question. I mean, I want to ask you all how you feel when the time changes, both in the fall and the spring.
I feel disoriented for probably 4 days-ish until I kind of course correct and get used to it. How about you?
I'm up like all the time because I've got babies, so I don't really notice it.
Oh man,
But
I
my
feel like
sleep
I
is
notice
so
it
messed
way
up.
more. I notice it way more with kids because they're on such a routine.
Because of the kids.
Exactly, with their bedtimes and their structure and when the sun goes down. So to me, I never used to notice it when I was single without kids. I just kind of like, oh yeah, it's a little earlier, a little later.
Yeah.
Since kids, parenting, no. I am like a huge anti-daylight saving time guy now that I have kids.
As
Does
a
that
sleep
track
doctor, do you feel that way too?
Absolutely. So in the vast majority of Americans, they want to ditch the switch. Let's stop changing the clocks. The question is, do we go on permanent standard time, which is what we transition to this weekend, or do we do permanent daylight saving time? And by far and away, the most healthy option, the best option for us is permanent standard time.
Okay, so remaining always at what we're about to go back to this weekend?
Correct.
Okay, why is that?
So when we have the immediate switch, we don't feel well because we all have these intrinsic circadian rhythms that regulate our sleep and our alertness, and that is out of sync when we change our clocks with the sun time, and also with when we go to work, when we eat our meals, when we do all these other activities.
You are so right. Okay, so you asked that question. I will say this. when my schedule changes at work, for example, around 7:38, my body starts getting tired because that's what time I go to bed. So I think our body does get used to this
It's like
scheduled
automatically.
routine. Do you have any recommendations besides the just, adjusting 20 minutes over the next couple of days to get to where we're going to be to help us get through this quicker, to adjust faster?
Absolutely. So one of the things that you can do leading up to the time change, and just in general, it's important to allow enough time for you to get enough sleep. Adults need at least 7 hours of sleep at night in general. Kids and teens need more than that. You talked about adjusting by 20 minutes some of your different activities. You can also adjust meal times, exercise times, other things that are ritual, that are social cues for you.
Yeah.
And also waking up in the morning and getting bright light. So light in the morning is really important. That light in the morning tells our brain it's day. If we have more light at night, that makes it harder to settle down and go to sleep as well. So getting that bright light in the morning is really important.
So now that it's going to be kind of a little bit different when we wake up. When we wake up, it's always dark no matter what. Should we turn on lights brighter? Or, sometimes I've got a lot of my lights on a dimmer, and when I first wake up, because my eyes haven't adjusted, I just keep that dimmer. I don't go fluorescent right out of the gate. Should we be making them brighter? Will that help us in these next few mornings?
So one of the benefits of standard time is we have brighter mornings. So as we transition to that, when you wake up in the morning to go outside, there's natural light. So if you have a window, you can sit by the window, you can go for a nice walk outside, you just need 20 or 30 minutes. And for people especially who are going to work and need to be there by 8 a.m. or so, when you're on standard time, you should have sunlight in the morning to wake you up. If we were not switching the clocks and stayed on permanent daylight saving time, then the sun wouldn't rise until after 8 a.m. in the Chicago area and Illinois.
During the winter, right?
And it's even worse if you hop on over to Indianapolis or our neighbors in Indiana. Sometimes the sun won't rise until after 9 a.m. if we were on permanent daylight saving time. So that's why standard time is really, really important.
Yes.
Makes sense.
You talk to people who have issues going to sleep, and I've heard, the blue light will keep you up, get off your phone, read a book instead. Do you have any secrets? Because you're a doctor of it, okay? And I think, a lot of us have issues, especially if you wake up in the middle of the night, you can't fall back to sleep. What are your tips and tricks?
So I think having the routines is really, really important.
Yeah.
There's lots of things. I think a lot of people think not sleeping well is normal.
Yeah.
So if you're having a specific issue, trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, talking to your doctor is really important.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We mentioned the routine with kids.
Yes.
Melatonin. Can you bottom line melatonin for us, whether it's safe and maybe some of the parameters you advise your patients to keep in mind when it comes to deploying melatonin?
The little helper.
Yeah, I think it's really important to talk about our kids and our teens because they're the most impacted by this time change, especially. If we were on permanent standard time, or permanent daylight saving time, a lot of times they're walking to school in the dark. So these dark mornings make it a lot more, the dark mornings are not safe for them.
Yeah.
People are driving on the roads unsafe. So permanent standard time would cause more safe streets. It also, the light in the morning helps them fall asleep better. So having these routines for your kids, having them wake up early, you can hopefully avoid the melatonin, right? Melatonin is only good in very specific circumstances, and people think it's safe because it's a supplement, but you really want to talk to your doctor before you start that.
Don't lean on it too hard. My question is kind of random, but Anthony mentioned lights, and I know they have these really cool like hatch alarms that'll start to get brighter, and then you can hear some birds chirping that'll slowly wake you up. Well, my kids have something along those lines, but the problem is they're so scared at night that they turn this night light thing on full blast. So it is like daylight in the room at night. Is that a bad thing?
Did they sleep through that, Caitlin?
Yes.
Wow.
It's my daughter will turn on like the overhead light because she doesn't want it to be dark.
Aww.
Is that bad for your brain when you're sleeping if it's bright in the room?
So the light can impact your sleep and wake patterns. Your kids are sleeping very deeply. It sounds like they're not disturbed, but ideally having things dark at night and throughout the night and having the lights in the morning when you wake up If you have a consistent wake-up time, not getting bright light within a couple hours, or not getting bright light more than a couple hours before your typical wake-up time can help enhance sleep.
So it's not like it's going through their eyes when they're sleeping. It's only if they're awake and seeing the light that it's gonna.
I think as much as you can
Keep it darker.
It's a little nuanced, yeah, but kids will be kids.
I know it.
As we get older, I have heard that we require less and less sleep the older we get. Is that true?
So everyone's kind of individualized. Some adults, as we get older, your sleep can get a little bit lighter. You might have a little more naps during the day. But some people, their sleep doesn't change much. So if you just make sure the 3 most important tenets of healthy living are healthy sleep, healthy diet, and exercise. If you're doing all of those things, I wouldn't focus on specifically the numbers
The length,
so much.
okay, and case by case.
Yeah, is it true that some people need more sleep than others? Because I promise I need to be in bed for at least 10 hours.
That's insane.
10 hours, Anthony.
am
10
so
hours. My husband,
jealous of that you could actually pull
do
that
it.
off.
Just go to bed super early. Can get by with like 7 hours. So is that a thing? Is there a thing between females and males too? Women need more sleep than men?
So that's a little bit controversial.
Oh, okay.
And I go back to the individual. And I think just important to, the things that you can do to best enhance your sleep are have these routines, allowing enough time to sleep. Sometimes people have these individual variations. Sometimes 7 is fine, sometimes 9 is fine. And having this healthy sleep hygiene, and if you're still feeling bad, talking to your doctor. Because we really, I mean, there's differences between men and women, but then there's so many individual differences between people too.
If you have to talk to a doctor, is it just like your general doctor, or do you have to go to a special sleep consultant if you're having issues sleeping? Oh, so maybe start with your doctor, and then they could recommend if you need
Someone
to go to a
like such
specialist.
as yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh my
And
gosh.
with the time change, I think, you know, it's important. The 3 main things I wanted to hone in on is permanent standard time, brighter mornings, which is more entrained with our intrinsic biology, helps us sleep better. You also have, it's safer streets. Kids are walking to school when it's lighter out with permanent standard time. Kids are less likely to be affected by drowsy drivers. And the third thing is it enhances your sleep and productivity. So standard time's been shown to kids get better grades, there's less depression, there's less heart disease, less obesity than permanent daylight saving time. So all of these things really play a role in why we need to get permanent standard time.
Let's go.
Let's
Yes.
go.
If you have more questions, if you go to ditchdst.com, there's ways to
There's a whole website for
yes,
it.
you can write to your legislators. All states have the ability to be on permanent standard time. Arizona, Hawaii, the U.S. territories don't actually time change. So if you talk to your legislators, there might be a bill that we could create so Illinois doesn't have to.
Listen, if anything can bring the right and the left together, it should be this.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Stop
because
messing
we
with
Sleep better, feel better.
exactly. We need buy-in though, because like I mean, it gets so complicated. If Illinois does it, does Indiana?
I
Does
know.
you know?
Right.
We need buy-in. Thank you so
you for
much.
having
Really,
me.
really appreciate you coming in, Lindsay McCullough from Rush. Really appreciate it.
Drove that point home.
Yes,
Success.
indeed. DitchDST.com.
And lots of
Can't
other
wait to
things we
visit
can
there.
talk about.
Yes, indeed. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, velcro parenting. This is the new phrase. You probably heard of like helicopter parents, lawnmower parent, velcro parent. This is a new thing. We're going to talk about how to avoid becoming one when we come back.
I think this is really going to be, instead of an interview, a therapy session for moi. We're talking about helicopter parents, lawnmower parents, never heard of that one. Gentle parents, yes, and Velcro parents. So it's this word, Velcro, that is describing parents. It's taking traction on social media, given to millennial parents especially. So to dive into Velcro parents, what we shouldn't be doing, I'm going to learn a lot here. I'm going to take notes. This is Dana Hurt. She is the founder of Dana Hurt Parenting, and you're a certified parent coach. Ooh, okay, so let's talk about...
Caitlin's licking her chops right now. She got so many questions.
Whew. Let's dive in. What is Velcro parenting in your words?
So Velcro parenting was a millennial parent invention. You know, you guys are coming up with all sorts of new parenting terms, but it's the idea of parents who are very closely tethered to their children. And so it's not a different phenomenon. I mean, I remember feeling when I had little kids, like, am I ever going to go to the bathroom alone again? So it's not that it's new, but the parents leaning in to this idea of being very present and connected to their children at all times.
That sounds great, but this is not a good thing?
It has good elements like any other parenting trend. I think what's good about Velcro parenting is this idea of creating secure attachment, right?
Yes,
so that your children sense that you're invested in them, you care about them, you're available to them. Like, who doesn't want a securely attached child, right? That's a good thing, right? Safety, right? That sense of safety that comes with the presence of your adults around you. That's a good thing too. And here's the...
To a point.
Here's the...
Are we suffocating these babies?
Here's the other side. Separation and individuation is a developmental imperative. Yeah. So I want to repeat that, a developmental imperative.
What age?
There's a lot of research from Margaret Mahler, from Eric Erickson about how important separation and individuation is. And you're right, what age? That's the best question, right? Early on, kids as young as 5 months start to understand the separateness of themselves from the parent, which doesn't mean that you start to say, peace out, best of luck to you, you know, hope you can put yourself to bed. But it is it should be a reminder to us of how important it is, because in the adolescent phase, it's important that we allow our children to really separate and individuate. And you can't expect that to happen as a developmental imperative in adolescence if it's never been something we're building them up to being able to do. So we have to be able to, along the way, allow for that autonomy to develop.
They have to have a foundation and a base laid so that they're just not like thrown out into the wind when they're a little bit older. What problems do you see typically with the clients that you work with early on in the phase? Because like Caitlin, your kids are how old?
1, 3, and 6.
1, 3, and 6. Okay. So like 3. My 3-year-old, for a while, he like wanted me in the back. Like, this wasn't me wanting to be with him, but like he'd need to go number 2, and he would want me in the bathroom there. Like, Daddy, I'd want to. And I'm like, gosh, okay, can't you just do it, and then I'll come in and I'll take care of the, you know, wipe your bottom, you know, but like you can do this on your own. Is that a typical age where you see this necessity for separation?
That's a great age to start practicing this. And I think that it's really important, Anthony, I'm glad you phrased it the way you did, because I think sometimes it's hard to figure out, like, whose needs are we satisfying?
Right.
You know, the first time I left my oldest son, the first time I left a child, I left with grandparents and left town, I left a binder, like literally a binder with alphabetized dividers. I got a cold sore the second I walked out the door, I feel like I did, and I didn't sleep when I was gone, and I was a wreck. But that was my needs. You know, he at home with his grandparents was thriving. So I think sometimes we have to struggle with whose needs you know, whose needs are relevant here, because if it's our needs...
I never wonder that about you, Caitlin. I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding. Caitlin's like, I just keep them close.
Speaking to my question, because here's my issue, and I talk to my husband about it all the time. I am obsessed with my kids to the point where I never want to leave them when I can be with them. I don't want to go out without them. I just want to be in their presence all the time. And if I'm not, I feel guilty. I feel guilty about being at work because my kids are at home. But I think, to your point, that's a selfish want and need of mine. They're fine. They don't need their mom all the time. They've got their dad, whatever, they're at school. Like, they're fine, they're full, their life is full. It's just my want and need to be with them all the time. And that really actually helps me as a parent to let them have their time and then be okay with me being away from them. Do you know what I mean? It's the guilt.
And I don't want you to think of it as selfish. I mean, I think that that's the problem. Like, it's not selfish. Like, we love these people. We made these people. We are highly invested in these people, and that's a great thing. And it's really important for them to see that we're separate, right?
Exactly.
Like, I love that your kids know that you're a working mom and that you're a person in addition to being their mom. And it's so great for your kids to see you leave and come back. And so it's really important for them. It's not your abandonment, it's that you're showing them that separation is normal and healthy, and that you are your own person. Like, we're always trying to talk about boundaries with our children, like physical boundaries with, you know, don't hit, don't bite, you know, and also emotional boundaries. So I don't want you to ever feel that that's selfish, because your self-care, our self-care as the grown-ups is critical for two reasons. One, we're not going to be resilient in the job of parenting, which is, by the way, really hard, and harder today than ever, if we're not taking care of ourselves, if we're not refilling those tanks. And we have to consider, what are we modeling for our children? Like, do you want to model for your kids that your needs don't matter?
Right.
It's because you don't want them to grow up and think, I should be parenting all the time and completely sublimate my own needs. I want our children to see, Daddy works out. Daddy takes time to take care of himself. You know, you just heard about sleep and exercise and eating right. Like, if we're not modeling that, if, you know, I know so many parents who get so focused on their children that the only dinner they have is whatever the kids didn't eat.
Oh, right, yeah, exactly.
Right?
Leftover chicken tenders.
Right, leftover chicken tenders.
Now, at the same time, you know, the argument that at a certain point you may be doing your children a disservice by giving them these easy off and on ramps to every aspect of life, to the point where they don't know that adversity that comes with navigating the world. You know, the world's a tough place, right? And how often do you see, when kids get to adolescence, they have been given these soft, easy on and off ramps to every aspect of life, and then when they're thrown out there into the real world, their minds are not ready.
Well, I always say to my clients, you can prepare the road for your children, or you can prepare your children for the road.
Oh,
and you better do the latter.
Yes.
Because even the best of us cannot ensure a smooth road.
Right.
You can be out there trying to, you know, wave away,
and I would
brush away, pave away, but it's the fantasy, right?
Yes.
But you can. It's the same thing with, like, our kids' big emotions. You know, like, we do not want our children to be happy all the time. That's the thinking. We want our children to be happy. But in life,
no way.
You're not going to be happy all the time. So how do I manage when I'm not? How do I manage when things are difficult? And part of that is individuation and separation, because then I have to figure it out for myself.
I know we got to wrap, but can you just give us like something to keep in mind when we're parenting, no matter what the topic is, because you're the parent expert, and how to do what's best for our kids throughout the day. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, picture them as an adult maybe, or picture like what would be best for them in the future. Is there any mantra?
For me, the mantra that was in my head when I was parenting, and by the way, I failed at this all the time, but what I really believe is intentionality. If you have a clear sense of what your core values are, what you want your children to look like as adults, it creates a blueprint in your head for how to make each decision. Because you're not thinking about this discrete problem, you're thinking about, what's my long game? So if you are intentional about your decision making, and you're always thinking, what are my core values? Health and safety, resilience, kindness, and you're making decisions tethered to those values, it will make the job easier, the journey smoother, and let you feel more empowered.
Love it. Dana Hurd, parenting.
So
come back anytime.
Tomorrow.
We need
There'll
ya.
be a new phrase tomorrow, so don't worry.
We called it helicopter parenting, I'm pretty sure, when I was growing up. That was Velcro parenting. Dana, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And we're back with another hour of Chicago Now after this.
nothing.
Have a ride.
Yes.
11 o'clock hour, Chicago Now. I had a jam-packed 10 o'clock show. I say this all the time. I need to take jam-packed out of your vocabulary.
Well, when it stops being jam-packed, we can come up with something else.
You're right. You know, that means it's exciting. Something's new coming at you.
What if we started the 11, we're like, wow, that sucks. They had nothing in that hour. No, we would never. We would never.
We have a lot. Entertainment focused.
It is. You can tell based on the fact that I'm here.
That's true.
We got a pretty entertainment-based hour today. So some really cool stuff, especially like if you're a Seinfeld fan. That's pretty cool. We got some great guests.
Or many of the animated movies.
That's very true.
There's a voice
exactly right.
I'm very familiar with that's coming on.
So let's talk about what we have coming up. Actor and comedian Patrick Warburton is performing at Zanies next week. He's going to join us this morning on the show. And then A Beautiful Noise, the Neil Diamond musical, is returning by popular demand. It'll be playing at the Cadillac Palace Theater for a limited 2-week engagement. That's November 19th through the 30th. So you better get your tickets now. They're probably almost sold out, I would imagine.
You know what? I hear about all these great like shows that are coming to Chicago.
A lot.
I need to start writing this down.
Do you not go to them?
No, sometimes I don't. Well, also I wake up so early, guys.
Sure.
And so that's part of the reason. But also,
you know they have them.
It's
this
like
is a crazy thought. They have them on Saturdays too.
That's a crazy thought.
That's a crazy
thought.
They also, in order to make money, they also do shows on Saturday.
But you know what's funny? Like Saturday is reserved for nothing. Okay.
Sure.
That's when I just sit on the couch.
But you gotta live. You only get one.
No, you're right. You're right. Drag me out, and I'll be there, guys.
Let's go.
Let's talk about some of these trenders because one caught our ear yesterday.
Yeah.
We didn't have time for it, but I'm glad, Jake, you're here because this is actually coming to Chicago. We're going to be talking about it more next week. But let's break it down for people.
Okay, so it's really interesting. Singles are paying $200 to hold each other in dark rooms. And so you may be like, well, why would somebody do this? They're saying, okay, let's just break it down. This is a LA matchmaking event. It's called The Feels, okay? And the singles mixer employs various touch-based technology aimed at getting participants to learn more about themselves, chipping away at their defenses, and maybe falling in love along the way. I don't know how this works completely. I got to talk to this lady.
Me either.
Because I got to know. But is this something you would sign up for?
What does it mean by chip away at their defenses?
Maybe like, you know, lowering the fact that you're in control. Because if you're in the dark, you don't really know what's coming, what's going on.
Okay, now
so just to clarify, you're paying $200
to be in a dark room.
be in a dark room and cuddle.
Is it cuddling too?
Oh, it says hold each other. $200 to hold each other in a dark room.
You could do that in your bedroom. I mean, I don't know what.
Oh, so I'm gonna start charging like $199
to do
and
this.
see
Gabby,
people here in
I beg
Chicago
of you
will
to
do it.
not put that out there on television because your DMs are about to be lit up.
Well, I'm not participating.
Oh, you sounded like you were volunteering your services.
No, she's going to host the room.
Yeah, I'm hosting. It's going to be cheaper than $200.
That just feels like a weird. Is this the first time that you've met? I don't know. I just feel like.
Well, it says couple. Right? It says
it's
single.
singles.
Oh, yeah. So this is your first time meeting each other.
You know what? I actually have.
That is weird.
Imagine that. I know neither of you are anymore. Imagine you're single and a guy came to you and goes, "Listen, I got the best first date idea. We're going to go sit in a dark room and we're going to hold each other."
But here's the interesting part. This is a singles mixer. So this is like males that are single,
it's like a blind date
coming together. Like a blind date in a dark room.
But I would be so overwhelmed.
That could go so
if you
left.
had it back to back, then yes, like someone's keeping track for you of who you're cuddling first. But like I would imagine every person is so unique. Like, how do you remember the person before them?
I'm just thinking about.
Sense to me, but it seems like a good business idea, so I might jump.
Listen, I'm a big, but Terrence Lee has turned me on to what is the expression he uses? Don't yuck someone's yum. If it works for you, God bless.
But imagine being under the cover with somebody, okay, and let's say you're the woman, right? You're under the cover with a man you don't know in a dark room, cuddled up. How do you think that's gonna go?
Yeah, I mean, and also
I can tell you how it's gonna go.
This is also one of those things where it's like $200, like just pull the blinds
It's because
down. Like what do you need
people
$200
in
for?
LA are a different breed. I'm telling you, I have some single cousins who are in LA, and they do like more of like the normal stuff, like speed dating. But one of them, I'm trying to remember now. Maybe you should bring her on for a quick Zoom. That'd be great. But it was like speed drinks, and like the icebreaker was trying to rate the drink, and then that would be like the conversation starter.
That's normal.
Yeah, that's
normal,
fine.
But still, like,
in a dark room, cuddled up with a stranger.
Speed dating. You're right.
You know how that's gonna go. It's gonna turn real heated, real quick.
I'm having a tough time wrapping my brain around pitching a woman, hey, come to a dark room with me, and we're gonna cuddle.
Yeah, it sounds creepy.
But also. We can't do anything after because I've blown my entire date budget because in order to get into this dark room, I've spent $200.
So Allie Hoffman is the creator behind this. We're going to have her.
Allie, come on the show.
On the show. We are.
Next week.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because the event is coming to Chicago on November 24th. We'll talk to her all about it because I got to find out what this is all about. Okay.
Sounds like a live shot idea.
Yeah. It is.
But it's hold on. But you'd never know. Just to be a black room and like, yeah, guys, I'm here.
We'd see
everyone's married in a relationship.
So that will work out for
Oh, you're only saying that because it's true.
It's true. It is true. Okay, this one is really, I would say, heartbreaking.
Yeah, this is we're taking a turn.
Bringing up a lot of questions, definitely taking a turn here. Walt Disney World has seen 3 deaths in less than 2 weeks. So this is crazy. A total of 68 people have died at Disney World since the Florida park opened in 1971, but 3 of them happened in the last 2 weeks. The most recent death involved a man in his 60s whose manner of death was ruled a suicide. Why would you go there to do this? I don't know. But prior to that, a man in his 60s died from a pre-existing medical condition as well. And then before that, a 31-year-old Disney superfan died at the Contemporary Resort in what authorities reportedly called an apparent suicide. So we know at least 2 of those out of the 3 are suicides. I don't know the psychology behind that, but to go there and do it.
So I've actually heard this before on social media, and then we have it here too, that someone with the Disney Wish podcast told the New York Post that there is a weird phenomenon where people who are severely depressed but want to have a good last happy family memory actually go to Walt Disney World
to do this.
And to do this.
So in their mind, they already know they're going to do it, but they want to have that last memory, whatever it is, to be happy. That's really sad.
It is really sad. But, you know, I will give them credit. I mean, 68 people since 1971, that's not a ton. And think about how hot it gets there, too. You know, initially when I saw the headline, I thought maybe, okay, heat stroke, I don't know, getting overexhausted, medical emergency happening. So.
Sure. But there's, I think, you know, and I hate to say that this is, you know, a trend, but I really hope Disney has an opportunity here to maybe post, you know, just a couple of, you know, just in the same way, oftentimes we will put the suicide prevention hotline anytime on the air. Whenever we do a story, we'll put the hotline as a lower third, as a chyron. There's a good opportunity. You know, there's so much signage for things that Disney is selling. They could afford to take down a couple of signs and maybe just put up a few and just say, hey, you know what, if you need help, there's someone, you know, and post up a couple, you know, just have a couple of people on around.
Say that.
And then have a couple of phone numbers around for people. And just, you know, have people around. Say, hey, listen, even whether that was your intent going into the park or not, if you just need someone to talk to.
Well, it seems like a lot of it's happening at the hotels. So at very least, having in one of the hotels or making
maybe
sure
that's
that
part of the
there's
greeting. You know, we have therapists on site or a therapist on site for you.
Especially if it's happening that much. Interesting.
Sad. Okay, Jake, you've been working on something that is, I guess, will keep us upbeat, right?
Sure.
More positive.
I'm talking about failure.
Well, but in a different.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I asked someone a question that I want to come back and ask you guys. So, actor Colin Farrell, at this point, friend of the show, he's on every 16 minutes. He has a new movie that came out today on Netflix. It's called Ballad of a Small Player, in which he plays a gambling addict and a guy who stole a lot of money, lost the money, now has to gamble more to get that money back, or he's going to be in some very serious trouble. And the thing about that this movie sort of touches on with gambling addiction is a lot of time gambling addicts, according to this movie, kind of they secretly at least want to lose, because winning forces them to stop in a way, and losing gives them an excuse to keep chasing that high, right? So I had the chance to chat with Colin about this movie, and I kind of wanted to sort of put that idea of loss and a valuable loss. Because if you've ever been to Vegas, I always say you learn more from your losses than you do your wins.
That's true.
Because the wins, you can chalk it up to luck. Your losses, you're like, well, if I had hit there when I stay, you know. And so I wanted to know, over the course of his career, he's been an actor for, at this point, 25, 30 years, and you know, we all have our highs and we have our lows, and I wanted to know what was the low point from his career that he learned the most from. And apparently there was a big movie of his that quite frankly bombed at the box office at a point where he was up here, and he said it was important because it kind of brought him back down to earth a little bit.
Guys,
Jake,
good to see you.
How are you, man?
I'm doing so well. You ever get tired of making good movies? You're just going to keep doing it.
Oh, you charmer, you. Charmer. Say it again. It's great to see you, Jake.
Here, card games can change your life in an instant.
There are moments in this movie where I thought, does he even want to win? Because losing gives him an excuse to go back again, and winning gives him a reason to stop. I'd love for you to look back over your career. What is the most valuable loss you've experienced? Not getting a role, a bombed audition, a movie not doing well. Is there a moment you can think as an actor where losing actually taught you something and it may have been better than winning?
It's a great question, man. When, and not to no shade on Miami Vice at all, but when it came out first, particularly, it wasn't really well received, and it was there was a bit of an outcry, as much as there can be around a film, about the film not meeting expectations and stuff. And we could have considered that a loss, you know. But as we know in life as well, some things that feel like a loss in the moment can show themselves in later years to be great graces and turning points. So that's what Miami Vice was for me, because I remember that there was so much noise around, and God, poor me, there was so much success at a young age that it was so overwhelming, but I didn't want to acknowledge its overwhelm. So that was a big one for me. Thanks for the question.
That's fascinating. You know, film Twitter regards that movie as a classic now.
I know it's had a second life. That's why I said when it first came out, it's really lovely, and it has had a second life. Yeah, it's cool.
So I always kind of like using these conversations to throw it onto you guys. Did you have however you want to define the word, a failure in your career that you're actually kind of grateful happened, because had it not, maybe you wouldn't have learned a lesson, or maybe, you know, it was a fork in the road that got you to the place you're in right now?
That's a darn good question.
Yeah, I have.
Hamilton, what happened? Maybe I could think on it. I've had so many failures.
I was filling in for a station, and you know, everything was looking good. You know, I was thinking I was going to stay, and then you know, it didn't end up working out. And so I was kind of laid off for a little bit, searching for a new job, and then a job luckily popped up. And now it just has changed my perspective. I'm so grateful for it, because, you know, I think like maybe, okay, I'm so busy, this and that, but it's like, man, but if I would put myself back in that situation where I didn't have a job, how effing thrilled would I be to be here? You know what I mean? So
exactly
it
right.
helps you change your position. So I would say that was a
and
win.
you know, I'm a big believer of like the butterfly effect, right? And where would you may have ended up at a position where that you hated, and here you are now. Exactly
Very lucky.
Right. Something clicked.
Oh, look at her.
Something clicked.
It's gonna be crazy.
Let's go.
Okay, so we got to go back some years ago when I wasn't as refined. Sure, I was a college graduate. I had a master's degree and all of that, but I wasn't refined in the way where if you upset me at that time, I would have told you, let's go to the park.
Sure.
Well, long story short, I was working at a TV station. This is a true story. Actually, it's the chapter in my book, by the way, that I'm working on. But anywho, long story short, this girl, she wanted my job. I was the weekend anchor there, reported during the week. And she wanted my job merely for the fact that her husband was also on the weekends, right? So they were two ships sailing right past each other. So she went and fought when her contract was about to be renewed for my job. She got it. Great job. She had been there longer. And so she became like my weekend boss, essentially, and telling me now what to do. And she told me to do something, and I knew it didn't come from a very happy place. It was from a, I'm your boss now, you know, I got something for you. And I told her, I said, you know, I don't like the way you're talking to me. We should go to the parking lot. True story. Listen, so after I said it, I called my boss and said, hey, I just said something I probably shouldn't have said, but I want you to hear it from the horse, right? I don't want it to be the telephone game. I said this under anger. I know I'm going to be in trouble for it, whatever. Long story short, I didn't work there very long, and I ended up working, that was like the bottom of the barrel station. I ended up working at a top-tier station, still in the same market, in a better role, you know. So listen, I do regret what I said. It was a defining moment of absolute failure. Would I say it again? Probably. I probably would say it again. I wouldn't say it now, but you know, back then I was young. I wasn't as refined and didn't know how things really worked in the real world. And yeah, I invited her to the parking lot. I'm happy.
What was her response in that moment?
She was shocked, but she wasn't going to the parking lot with me. I'm from Chicago.
I would go to the parking lot with you.
It wasn't going
when I have a problem with someone, I'm going to ask Tia to come to the parking lot for me.
Tia, they're being really mean to me. Will you take these people to the parking lot?
I can't believe I even said that to somebody.
Wow.
So I ran into her. Here's a quick story. I ran into her years later when I was working in California. She was on a scene, like some crazy scene that stations from around the country came to. And she walked up to me and she said, I thought I should apologize, but she actually said, I want to apologize for the way I treated you. She knew she was wrong. She deserved to be invited into the parking lot.
So would you guys, would you go as far as saying amicable now? Or
I haven't seen her in years since she apologized. If I saw her again, I'm not offended or anything. You know, she made right. She was wrong. I was wrong too. And yeah, just know, like, don't play with me because we might end up in the parking lot.
Still don't play with it. You might not say it.
Oh, no, I wouldn't.
Just because she's not saying it doesn't mean she's not thinking
I'm not fighting anybody, but I'm happy that it didn't go left. Because I could have went really bad. So now you guys know one of my secrets.
I love it.
No, you don't love it.
I do love it. No, I think that shows actually, if you want to focus on the right thing of that story, is it shows a lot of growth. I think, you know, I'm a big believer that, you know, if you look back on you know, some of the mistakes or different things, anything aspect of your career from 20 years ago, and you don't cringe a little bit, it means you haven't grown. It means you haven't done anything. You know, I always say, you know, if you're looking back at work you did in television in any form, in front of or behind the camera, and you don't go, oh, I wore that, I did that, I said that way, I wrote that story that way, and you're not cringing, then what are you doing?
You guys aren't surprised I invited somebody to the parking lot, are you? I mean, you know, they say no.
The peanut gallery says no.
I mean, you guys see me every day. I think I'm pretty straightforward.
Yeah, but I mean, I mean that as a compliment, though. I mean, I feel like it's like I never have to worry about where I stand.
Oh no, you know where I stand.
And I think that is a positive aspect, a positive attribute in somebody.
Yeah, you know where I stand. It's straight up, no chaser, nothing fake. Occasionally I wear some extensions, but other than that, ain't nothing fake about me. It is just straight up.
Sometimes where you stand is the parking lot.
Yeah, and if you meet me there,
and if you meet me there, you're not going to be standing for very long.
Bow. Okay, not anymore.
This is the best show ever.
This is so funny.
Best show ever.
And here's the thing.
Oh God, there's a thing.
No, because I'm thinking about this. I've only had 2 fights in my life. True story. And I did not start them. They were started by other people when I was young. You know, I would get teased for different things. In one particular case, I was teased about my complexion being a darker, you know, complexion. And this boy started fighting me during literally standardized testing. So I didn't start that fight. Then I had this girl, shout out to Carmen if you're watching, who grew up in my neighborhood, who was just a bully. You were a bully, Carmen. And she came and bullied me and tried to fight me. She was a little bigger than me, you know, a little girthy at the time. And so I just made her run. and chase me, till she got tired. But those are the only 2 altercations I ever had in my entire life. So I wasn't gonna know what to do for real if she did get up and say, let's go to the park. Yeah, I'm coming.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known what to do. I've never really punched anybody for real.
I could have listened.
You were smart back then. You're smart now.
I'm a big fan of going to Vegas and putting money on a fight here and there.
They're laughing.
I would have put my money on Sia.
I don't know what
and
I
I think
would've
that's a
done.
solid bet.
I don't know.
Anyone ever try to fight you?
No.
You never had a childhood like...
There's a lot. Well, I think there was just a lot of pity.
Like a lot of drinking?
There's a lot of no, God, no, absolutely. I was the nerd. I mean, the craziest, biggest trouble I got into was like, no joke. This is not a bit or an exaggeration.
No, it's okay.
Like sneaking into R-rated movies, trying to like,
oh God,
like being 13 and trying to like rent Pulp Fiction. It's
always
I was such a big nerd in high school, big movie nerd, and I just took that and made a living out of it. But I was. I wasn't being invited to scenarios in which trouble would have happened.
I like that.
No one was inviting me to their
Growing
party.
up in the city of Chicago, man, that's a rite of passage. At some point, you will probably, maybe now it's probably different, sadly. It's probably way different. It's probably more violent than, just somebody pow, pow, right? Now it's guns with it, So, and I don't advocate for that, but growing up, I expected, fully living in some of the communities I lived in that at some point, I would have to fight, and being an only child made it worse because you had nobody,
of course,
no big sister, no big brother to call on.
Yeah.
So you're out here.
Yeah.
So Carmen, I hope you got your workout that day. Boom.
There you go.
And hopefully it worked out since.
Don't go to the parking lot with Tia. There's a segment. There's a segment, and it's going to call the parking lot with Tia Ewing. And every week you should be reunited with someone who wronged you in your life. And go, next week in the parking lot.
I learned that from Wii, by the way, those moves. You remember that game?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's all I got.
With a big, giant little bobblehead? Yeah. Right now, behind the scenes, they're writing the parking lot.
I know.
I'm telling you, I want like an associate producer credit on it.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, Tia. Okay.
I'm exhausted. This show exhausts me. I feel like I just ran a mile.
Me too.
That was an emotional roller coaster, yeah.
It was. We'll be right back.
Are we going to break, for the love of God?
Yes, we'll be right back.
Take as long as we want.
Mr. Fetterman.
All right.
All right.
Welcome back.
We tried.
It's live. Technical difficulties. We'll try to get to it when we can.
All right. You know what I love about our next guest?
What do you love?
There are some guests that we have, and we kind of have to lead off with, if you were a child of this decade, or if you were a child of that, if you grew up here, if you had parents, it does not matter what age you are. You know our next guest because in some form or fashion, he was a part of your life. You know, actor, comedian, all-time, one of the most iconic voices, I think, in pop culture. Patrick Warburton for roles like Putty on Seinfeld, The Tick, Joe Swanson, Family Guy, Kronk, Emperor's New Groove. It does not, we could be here all day just listing your credits, but what matters is he's going to be at Zany's, and he's live with us right now. Patrick, this is an honor, man. Thank you for taking the time.
You, Jake, are you talking about this voice?
That is exactly what other voice could I? He sounds like he's doing an impression of me in high school. Just welcome in, man. I appreciate you.
You got to be well versed in all the woodland creatures, not just the squirrels.
That's
It's so
well
funny
done.
because that is my childhood. I mean, well, I should have been watching Family Guy when I was a kid, but tells you about my growing up. Thank you for coming on. How excited are you to come to Chicago? Have you been here many times? Are you a fan of the city?
A number of times, I am. I'm a big fan of the city. I love Chicago. I do, yeah. I know none of your ball clubs are in the game right now, but listen, making friends. I think the White Sox aren't there because God wants the Pope to be focusing on other things right now.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Thank you.
Otherwise, they'd have a perfect record.
Yes.
What can we expect for your shows that you're having this weekend?
You know, there's one actor that became a comic because he got canceled. I became a comic to get canceled.
For the love, could we not have that happen on this show?
Not today.
Well, I'm not a big fan of Safe. Yeah, that won't happen on this show.
I appreciate you.
Network.
Yeah,
you know,
we gotta stay employed.
We were talking about, you know, obviously we were talking about your voice and how iconic it is. I'm sort of curious, how many times in the street are you just maybe talking with a friend, having a conversation with someone, and instantly someone just stops and turns around? And then how often does it take for it to sort of click where they know you from?
Well, it's always different, but yes, that does happen. One of the funniest times was when I was, we were in Machu Picchu, and I was walking with my brother-in-law, and I just couldn't ignore the irony that Kronk was in, Machu Picchu. So I did a little voice, and then someone turned around and said, she goes, "Oh my God, you sound just like him." You know, I heard Colin talking about earlier about, going back, because he had that film that, that wasn't really so appreciated at the time, and then became, it got its just due that you had mentioned. The Emperor's New Groove was one of those, because The Emperor's New Groove did not do great in theaters, and then its afterlife became somewhat huge, starting with DVDs, I think.
It's funny because, really old people like Jake Hamilton here,
really old,
someone in the middle, and then a really young, vibrant person like myself. We all know you. Is there one that you're most recognized by? Like one voice character?
In voice, it would definitely be Joe, Family Guy, and Kronk from The Emperor's New Groove. And TV, I'll never do anything as high profile as Seinfeld. But there are some other shows. And there are those ones too that, that you thought were failures at the time. I did a short-lived series called The Tick years ago. We did 9 episodes, and I think we were just about the first to do single-camera live action, and Fox did not support us. But it's had a huge, afterlife, which is kind of cool, and a cult following there. But yeah, definitely Seinfeld.
So November 4th, that show is so completely out, which means you had to add a show, which is November 3rd. I got to ask you this. I'm always kind of like the wild card on this show. In terms of entertainment, I have to ask, what is the craziest thing that's ever happened to you that the average person wouldn't know anything about? Maybe it's something that happened behind the scenes. Maybe it happened when you were filming something. What is the craziest thing that's happened to you in the entertainment business since you've been a part of it that you can talk about on TV?
There's so many crazy things. Well, I was in bed with a 94-year-old Betty White who rubbed my chest down. When I was 27 years old, I made out with Carol Burnett and played her toy boy lover. And then had an interesting experience with Eartha Kitt. I don't know what it is about me and older women. I love Eartha, by the way, to death. There's just, I mean, crazy niche, My first gig was in South Africa when I was 22, and I spent 4 months doing a couple of horrible films, but with Eartha Kitt and the great Oliver Reed.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. And I remember one of my first nights drinking with Mr. Reed and his 24-year-old wife at the time, Josephine. He was 49. They met when she was 16.
Keep going, because we're listening. Yeah. Keep going.
Anyways, he decided to show me the very first night, because he had a tattoo on it.
What?
And of course, Josephine told him to put it away.
I'm never going to be able to watch Gladiator ever again.
Oh, my word.
Well, he was relegated to doing these horrible films with me at the time. They were Canon films. Canon's been gone for a long time because they couldn't ensure major production with Mr. Reed at the time because he was so volatile and always drinking. He would try to get me drinking whiskey at 10 o'clock in the morning on the set, and I would have to let him know that he had me all night, but I wasn't going to, I was going to ruin my career with bad acting. I didn't need to be drunk and a bad actor. But when I watch these movies now, and I am truly the worst thing in them, a little bit of whiskey in the morning would have helped.
Well, somebody will have to be a person that drinks to get a tattoo on there, to begin with. I mean, that's already pretty out there.
As I recall, it was like the talons of an eagle going over it. Now, my eldest son's name is Talon.
Is it because of that?
That was not the inspiration, I must say.
Sure. We'll go with that.
Oh, my word. You are hilarious, by the way. Yeah, no more questions, okay?
Yeah.
Patrick, I am sort of curious, we're all sort of, geeking out about different characters that we know you from, but like, when you go on stage, to what degree do you kind of have to break that? Because you don't want to go up on stage and do putty for 90 minutes. You don't want to go up on stage and do, you kind of do have to establish, listen, I am an actor. I do have stand-up. I do have, I do have a show prepared for you. Do you ever kind of have to remind people, you're not getting 90 minutes of putty while you're here the whole time?
No, and I don't have to remind them because I'm on stage for about 70 minutes, and I don't mention Seinfeld. I don't mention, there's a couple of industry anecdotes, but that's about it. It's got to be stand-up and has to be relatable. If you're just on stage telling industry anecdotes, then it's a night with, and this is not a night with. You're in a comedy club, it has to be stand-up. Most of my, and my story is very, very relatable. I've been married for 34 years, 4 kids, 7 dogs, a mean wife. It's stuff that people can relate to.
You cannot say you have a mean wife on TV. She's going to see this.
She knows all about it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Listen, I adore the woman, but yeah, we have our fun.
Does she think you're funny?
She does. There are times when she'll caution me and say, listen, you have to be concerned about protecting your brand. I go, well, what is that, hon? And I go, by the way, stand-up comedy is entirely different than anything else. And again, I'm not a fan of safe, and I feel like you need to be able to have that freedom there. Centuries ago, even the court jesters had immunity to certain things because they could say something that would get anybody else's head chopped off, but if they didn't feel that safety net, then they couldn't dare to be dangerous or funny. And that's what you have to be able to do. And that's just sort of what I subscribe to in all of this.
I was going to ask, because you have been in the entertainment space for so long, we're now kind of seeing some of these comedians and actors come out of the social media room, right? They have no formal training or anything like that, but they're now thrusted into the spotlight. I'm just curious what you make of that in this new era where we're seeing people literally just come from TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, and the next thing you know, they're headlining shows.
Well, it could be great and it can not be great if they're, not prepared. My first venture into stand-up was when I was about 21, and I had a blast doing it. I was at the Comedy Store for a few months, and I got to spend some time with the likes of Robin Williams and Sam Kinison and Eddie Murphy. That's when I ended up going to Africa doing those films. I came back and I never ended up going back in. I've regretted it my whole life, and so that's why I'm diving back into it a few years ago. So, but I've been touring, headlining for this last year and a half. It's been the busiest year and a half of my life, and I've hit all the major markets, and we shot a special, and we've done it all. And for me, it's been such an amazing experience because I've never known this kind of autonomy where I've always been told what to do, what to say, where to say it, how to say it. When you do stand-up, you write your own material and you do it when you want, how you want, and where you want. So, but it's huge. I think there is, in the realm of everything that's going on with social media, and social media, 15-second dopamine hits and this and that. People do love the live experience and being there and seeing what happens, because there is no safety net when you're on stage for 70 minutes.
That's true.
Well, you said that you took that break. I mean, is it hard for you to jump back into stand-up? Are you finding it challenging, even though you said you've been on, in the spotlight and doing different things, but in a different capacity? You were told lines. You didn't have the freedom that you do probably on stage doing stand-up. So is it
Right.
challenging? Is it nerve-wracking getting up there?
Maybe at the very first it was, but I had a little bit of a cheat because I had agreed to do these live stage readings of these letters, which I opened with 10 minutes of talking, which became 15 minutes of stand-up. I got really tired of doing that show and decided I was just going to do stand-up. At that point, that's when I started, getting offers, and then I just decided to do it and wrote it. I mean, the first show I did, the first headline gig I did was about, a year and a half ago, and I ended up doing 70 minutes, in front of a sold-out at the Irvine Improv, and 60% of what I did on that stage that night was untried, untested, meaning I hadn't worked it out the Improv or the Store or the Laugh Factory. So that was, rather harrowing, but it went well. And so throughout the year and a half, you end up making omits, you add stuff, you sharpen up the show, and it's just gotten funner and funner and funner.
Patrick, you mentioned you'd overheard my interview with Colin Farrell earlier, and I talked to him about failures that taught him a lot. I love asking people who've done stand-up comedy about the best situation in which they bombed or had a heckler in the crowd, and what they took away from that moment. Do you have a great bombing on stage story?
Well, nothing's gone horribly wrong, knock on wood, up to this point, but there have been some interesting experiences. There was a woman in a show, and it was on my East Coast tour. It was in West Nyack, New York, as I recall. And she kept going, ah! Okay. That was like her laugh. And it was not, they weren't at punchlines, the midst of setups. It was a little bit disconcerting. You could see in the eyes of folks, but that's one of those things you cannot address because perhaps somebody has a tick or something, and you can't, even in a fun way, really, address or go after. So that was an interesting experience. Then, I've gotten asked by, buddies or friends to perhaps do a Benny or a corporate. Those aren't as fun. Clubs are the best. And clubs, you have just a freedom. Nobody's worried about HR sitting next to them and laughing at the wrong joke. So there are things that I'll shy away from.
Well, Chicago's the best.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, you don't have to shy away from anything in this town.
All right, so your shows are at Zanies in Rosemont November 3rd. There are still some tickets available for that show November 4th, completely sold out. Patrick Warburton, it's been an absolute pleasure.
This has been so
much. We love you, dude.
Thank you, Tia, Gabby, Jake. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm looking forward. I'll be out there this week.
All right, we'll see you.
We'll see you
next
All
time.
right, see you then.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Enjoy.
Lots of love.
Using our first names, that's really
I love
cool,
that.
Patrick.
I like
That was
that.
cool to even remember,
Little things.
because there's no
Little things.
word or anything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at that. Look at that.
All right, so coming up, we are going to talk about A Beautiful Noise, the Neil Diamond musical.
Sweet.
It is returning by popular demand right here to the city of Chicago. Stay with us right after this
Have the
break.
rights to that. welcome back. All right, I'm starting this out, but then you guys have to finish it.
Okay.
Sweet Caroline.
Bum, bum, bum.
That's it. See, well done. Based on that alone, you can tell that our next guest has earned a spot on this show. A Beautiful Noise, the Neil Diamond musical, returning by popular demand. Broadway and Chicago's Cadillac Palace Theater, 2-week engagement, November 19th through the 30th. So we thought we'd talk with the big man himself, Robert Westenberg, who plays Neil Diamond. Robert, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
I'm doing so well. I got to ask you, how sick are you of that song?
No kidding.
Actually, not very, because it gets an amazing response from the house every night. Participation from everybody. You see elderly people like myself standing up in the aisles and waving their arms and singing the song, and it's a joyful moment. You can't get tired of it.
Oh, I love that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you guys go ahead.
No.
There's so much more than the music. You know, think Neil Diamond, right? You think the music, and it's really spanned through generations. But there's so much or more of a deep story that you tell with his life. I mean, do people really get that from the musical? Is it more than just the music, and you're telling his whole life?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people think that when they come to see the show, it's going to be a tribute musical, or it's going to be, you know, greatest hits lineup. But it's much more than that. Anthony McCartan, who wrote the book, did a magnificent job of piecing together Neil's life contextually in terms of when the songs happened and why they happened and the pressures that were on him when it was going on. So it ends in a very unexpected way. It goes in a direction, a somewhat dark direction at the end of the play, and it's very deep, it's very personal, it's very intimate, and very unexpected. And I think that it has an emotional impact that is unexpected with a jukebox musical.
So we were just looking at some of the video. We saw people standing up, people in the crowd really getting into it, enjoying themselves. What did you have to go through, or what do you go through on a daily basis to really prepare to do this consistently every single night?
It's a great question. I've just finished a week off. I took a vacation and went back home to see my wife and kids and grandchildren. And it coming back in and jumping back into the boat is an interesting event. You have to you just have to prepare the ground and get ready to jump in very deeply into this man's life and live fully on stage and be available. You know, we have a great cast, and every night I sort of just let myself slipstream along the energy of the cast and let the river take me where it's going to take me. And it's fun. It's a different journey every night.
I love that. Robert, Kevin Bacon told me one time that whenever he goes to a wedding, he will tip a DJ not to play Footloose, because he doesn't want everyone to just stare at him the whole time. When you're out and about with friends and family, if there's karaoke, if they're playing music, and a Neil Diamond song comes on, does everyone who knows you just stop what they're doing and look at you and go like, you hear it? You hear it?
Yeah, well, you know, when I'm with my family, you know, I'm like wallpaper to my family. They don't even know I'm there. I mean, I'm just dad or granddad. You know what I mean? And so
pretty
they
cool
just
granddad.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
They roll their eyes and we move on. But yeah, that happens somewhat. But I don't know if the identification with me as Neil Diamond is very complete, because people don't even recognize me when I leave the theater. I'm wearing a wig. You know, I've got makeup on. I look completely different from what I do on stage. So I walk off stage, all these people are waiting at the stage door, and I walk right through them. They don't even know who I am. They think I'm a stagehand or something.
That's hilarious.
But actually, Neil Diamond was able to catch one of your shows in Hollywood, right? And I remember actually seeing a video of this, a clip of it, and it was kind of a one-time occasion, right? No one expected it. But what was it like performing for Neil and meeting him afterwards? I mean, that's incredible.
It was amazing. I dreaded it for about 3 or 4 months. I thought, you know, what's it going to be like to be standing in front of this guy and being him now, because I play Neil now instead of Neil then. And it was a little bit intimidating, but he was incredibly kind. He actually used my dressing room at the theater, and so I got kicked out for the first half and went over to Nick's dressing room, Nick, who plays Neil then. And then they snuck him in, and so nobody knew he was there. And he's just this older gentleman who was snuck into the side of the theater, and people did not know that Neil Diamond was in the house. So at the end of the show, when we do our Sweet Caroline reprise for the curtain call, Nick walks down to Down Center, and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, Neil Diamond," and he gestures towards Neil, and the audience was very confused. 3 spotlights hit this elderly gentleman standing there on the side of the house in the orchestra. And they thought, wait a minute, you're Neil Diamond. We just saw 2 Neil Diamonds on stage. And then it took about 15, 20 seconds for them to realize, oh, Neil Diamond. Wow. And he started singing solo. And I'm telling you, his voice was just as beautiful and deep and resonant as it was when he was younger. And the audience started weeping. And so did everybody on stage. It was really, really emotional. But it was a joyful moment, and the audience went absolutely ballistic. It was great.
And it was Sweet Caroline, because I'm trying to listen, like, what are they singing?
The end of the show.
And that was a song. That is a beautiful moment. Everybody's standing up, having a great time. I do want to ask you, because you did talk about having the ability to go back home, be with your family. You're now back here in the city of Chicago. What is that experience like for you? Because I know this is obviously not the first time the show has been here. It's coming back. What do you think about the city of Chicago? What is something that you love about this city?
Honestly, I think Chicago is one of the great American cities. We've been all over the United States, and we're going to continue. We continue to through July. But Chicago, for me, it's just a really special place. It's a city that seems to know. It's first of all, it's magnificent. I mean, the architecture, everything about it is magnificent. But the inner city itself is a living space. It's robust, it's got neighborhoods, it's got children, it's got churches, it's got schools, it's got people running around, the restaurants are full. It's we've hit a lot of cities that are not that. And I don't want to get too critical, but there are some cities that just feel absolutely like ghost towns, especially.
You can name them, it's okay.
You don't call them out, Jay.
But I think COVID had a lot to do with it, and they did not respond well to it, and they did not rebound afterwards. But Chicago has it going on, and it's one of my favorite cities. Absolutely,
it does have it.
In fact, my wife is here, and she's.
Hi, wifey. Can she hear us in the back? Can she hear us in the background, or she's not sitting
Give her our
with
love if she's not there.
Yeah. So anyway, it's got everything.
Yeah.
It's got everything. It's got class. It's got it's got culture. I think if this is correct, at least the last time I was in Chicago years and years ago, it has more outdoor art, sculpture than any other city in the world.
That is true.
Something
That's
like
true.
that.
Yep.
Like I'm talking about Italian cities and things like that. Apparently it's one of the most art culturally prone cities in the world. So, anyway, I love it. Got great sports. It's got history. I love everything about it.
Well, it's got everything, and now it's got the Neil Diamond musical back in town, November 19th through the 30th. Cadillac Palace Theater, one of my favorite theaters in Chicago.
It's
my man,
pleasure.
Robert, this was fantastic, man. You got to come perform for us sometime. We want to, I know you're going to be here, but we want you here.
Anytime. And listen, I just don't want to have to follow Patrick afterwards. I mean, that guy is ridiculously funny.
He could be a good opener.
You were great. You were great. Thank you, Robert.
Robert, we appreciate you, man.
All right. Thank you so much.
Enjoy the city. See you later.
See you next time. Okay.
Okay, we got to get right to break because we have an interesting guest coming up right after this break.
Maybe
give us a couple minutes. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to Chicago Now. We're already having a great time with this guest. This has been a completely entertainment theme.
Yes.
show.
It really has.
Yes.
And maybe you want to break into, that's true, maybe you want to break into the showbiz. Let's talk about the agent's playbook. So Michelle Hayes is a talent agent based here right in Chicago, landing people roles on Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Chicago Med, Empire, Cyrus. I'm not going to read it all.
Can we also just acknowledge that
just keep going.
Chicago Fire is, you can't see it, but it's
filming
shooting right outside our, there's a window to our right, and it is shooting on Lake Street, so it's right there.
So Michelle, thank you so much for coming in. I know you have this talent agency. You decided to write this book. A lot of people want to land in this space and they don't know where to start. What made you write the book? Is it because of that?
A couple reasons. There's so many aspiring actors that just don't know where to start. They get scammed and misinformation. I get so many DMs about I gave up $3,000 to be an actor, and that is not correct. Let me tell you, agents do not get paid. We only get paid with commission. So you never give us upfront fees. So I did it because I see so many people looking for an agent or not knowing where to start, and you have to understand the business before you start it. So that's why I wrote the book, just to give them the correct information from a talent agent's perspective.
I love that. You know, we see Hollywood right on the cover here, but I've been hearing more and more that you don't need to be in Hollywood in order to be successful in this industry. Chicago is also, I mean, look outside, like we said, there's a lot of things happening here.
Oh, absolutely. I tell my clients all the time, we have the Bear. We can't forget about the Bear. My client, Corey Hendricks, on there. I know he's been here with you all.
Corey, friend of the show.
We have The Shy, who's going in its 8th season. We did have Power, and then all the Dick Wolf shows are here. Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, Chicago PD. So there's no need to leave yet. Once you book all those shows, then go to Hollywood. And you have the resume, right?
Yeah. You hear a lot about, this kid has it, or we're looking for it. It changes. It meant something different in 1925 than it does in 2025. From your what are you looking for? What does someone have to have for you to say, okay, yes, I will take you on as a client?
I'm right here, baby.
Yeah. You are it.
Go ahead, baby.
That's it.
You all are. All of you are it. I want to make sure we don't confuse modeling with acting, because a lot of times you can say someone has that it factor by the look, and that's modeling. But for actors, I don't care how you look. We represent everyone. I need to know that when you go in your audition, you can nail it. There's going to be 100 people auditioning for that one role. What is the it factor that makes you stand out? I tell all my actors, do something in your audition that makes you stand out, because 90% of them are going to make the same choices. It's the ones that make a different choice. You have to train.
Something out the box?
Just you have to do something different for them to remember you.
And is that something you go through in your book?
I do. I tell you how to audition, how to get proper headshots, resumes. I give you a step-by-step guide. I break down what a casting director is, agent, manager, everything.
Go ahead, Jake.
I think one of my frustrations with the younger as an old man, the younger generation is that really a lot of kids want to be famous. And you ask, what do you want to do? I want to be famous. Okay, famous doing what? I mean, but you have to know what you want to do. You have to have a passion. You have to have a talent. You can't just want to be famous, right?
So let's discuss that. If you want to just be famous, then you need to do TikTok and stuff like that. Instagram, that's fine. But if you want to be an actor, you have to have a true passion for it, because you're not going to be successful overnight. I need to know that you're okay doing theater for $100.
Yeah.
But you have to love what you do. And if you love what you do, you take that journey and you will get there and begin to get the big roles. I hate to say this, but if someone comes to me and says they want to be famous, that's a red flag.
There's the door.
You have to love it. You have to love what you do.
We're running out of time, and I wish we could keep talking about this, because there are some people on social media who have blown up in the acting space and done very well. Where can people get your book?
TheMichelleHayes.com.
Perfect place to go and get it. And I'm sure you'll offer even more tips there and everything else.
And I'd imagine there are a lot of shows in Chicago that require journalists for roles.
I've gotten Don on before. I've gotten Don, and then I told Tia, as soon as The Shy comes, I have you too.
Okay, I was saying that's great.
You too, all three. But I know you now.
Just the background.
They do. They need newscasters. They do.
Maybe you can see it.
And Jake looks fantastic, right?
I'll do nudity.
Oh, whoa. I don't represent those kind of actors.
Hey, it's HBO, Showtime.
I don't represent that type.
Thank you for coming on our show.
Thank you so much, Tia. Thank you. That's okay. I had a great time.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
We will see you on Friday Eve, everybody. See you tomorrow.
My mom.
Good news. Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News at Noon.
And now at noon, a Navy Pier restaurant facing a lawsuit after a fire injured several people. Details on the complaint just filed.
New flavors and opportunities on the far south side. We will show you the 2 new restaurants that just opened up near Pullman.
Good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us here at noon. I'm Natalie Bobke.
I'm Anthony Ponce. Good afternoon, everybody. A popular Navy Pier restaurant is being sued after several people were injured during an event.
One of those victims who says she was severely burned is sharing her story. Roseanne Tejas has more.
Attorneys just announced that lawsuit at a news conference where one of the victims said 1 minute she was having fun at a work party and the next she was on fire. Video shows the flames that erupted during a private corporate event at a food station set up to roast marshmallows for s'mores. This was at Navy Pier's popular offshore rooftop restaurant. The suit claims an employee from Maverick Hotels and Restaurants poured a combustible accelerant of some type on the flame, possibly alcohol, causing a flashover and critically injuring 25-year-old Kira Bond, one of 5 plaintiffs in the suit. Bond says her injuries, which required multiple skin grafts and surgeries, are life-changing.
I was going through like excruciating pain every day, especially at daily dressing changes. After surgery, I had, staples in my skin for a week, but still having to, do the exercises to maintain mobility in certain parts of my neck and other places. As a young professional, you want to make it on your own and not, get any kind of extra help. And so I just don't want to be treated differently, and I'm kind of worried about that.
The lawsuits being filed by Kavanaugh and Sorich claim that this is a clear case of negligence and that it is obvious the employees were not properly trained. We did reach out to the restaurant group for comment, and we have not heard back. In the Loop, Roseanne Tejas, Fox 32, Chicago.
Thank you, Roseanne. We're on verdict watch in the murder trial of Sonia Massey. Today marks day 2 of deliberations. Massey was killed inside her home in 2024 after calling 911 to report a suspected prowler. Former Sangamon County Deputy Sean Grayson claims that he was afraid she was going to throw a pot of boiling water at him. And so he fired, and she was killed. If convicted on first-degree murder charges, Grayson faces 45 years to life in prison. A second-degree murder conviction would carry 4 to 20 years if the jury decides the shooting was intentional but not premeditated.
Both local and state leaders are coming together to appeal the decision to deny Illinois federal disaster assistance. Governor J.B. Pritzker had requested federal assistance for multiple communities impacted by severe flooding in July and August. The flooding resulted in widespread property damage, power outages, disruptions to transportation, and essential services.
I can't say that it's unusual. I just say it's the first denial we've had in Illinois, and this one has more representative samples of the damage than any one we've had previously.
And to help with the appeal, the legal appeal here, OEMC and other agencies will conduct virtual and in-person assessments from people who were impacted by the summer floods.
12:03, giving you a live look outside. We love this look at Millennium Park and the changing colors of the trees.
I do like how we have, we got the red, we got the green, the blue, all kinds of varieties there, Caitlin. And that view changes throughout the morning, but it's bright and sunny outside, which we love.
Yes, it's sunny, it's beautiful, almost looks like a painting.
Yeah.
Maybe we could all try to paint that. It's stunning. We finally have the color, really. We've been looking at this camera shot, right? And it's always been green, and now finally we're getting in on some color. That fall feel is sticking with us today through the end of the week, even this weekend. We're gonna be in the 50s. But behind me, you